Welcome to the Epic Summary Podcast, where our mission is simple. We take your sources, articles, research, our own deep dives, and basically distill them into the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight.
That's right.
Today, we're embarking on a really fascinating deep dive into a book that has truly captivated readers and, honestly, sparked endless conversation. Jeneva Rose's The Perfect Marriage.
Oh, yeah. It's a domestic thriller that, in many ways, it really defines its genre. It's absolutely brimming with suspense, that moral ambiguity we love, and those, delicious, shocking twists that keep you guessing right until the very last page.
Mm-hmm.
We've synthesized insights from a couple of pretty comprehensive reviews, and our goal today is really to unpack what makes this book such a compelling read. Maybe a bit controversial at times, too.
Exactly. Think of this as your shortcut, your way to understand the intense buzz around The Perfect Marriage. We're going to give you just enough juicy details to pique your curiosity, sort of lay the groundwork for why this book is so talked about.
But not too much.
Right? Strategically leave you with that irresistible urge to experience the full roller coaster yourself. Are you ready? Let's dive in.
Let's do it.
So at its very heart, The Perfect Marriage throws you right into a shocking and, frankly, deeply uncomfortable scenario. We primarily follow two main characters. You've got Sarah Morgan, who's this high-powered, incredibly successful defense attorney.
Right.
And then her husband, Adam, who is, he's a struggling novelist. Now, from the outset, their life together seems brittle. At best, incredibly brittle, like it's hanging by a thread.
That's a perfect way to put it.
I think
brittle. And the narrative structure, it alternates between their first-person perspectives.
Which is great.
Yeah, it immediately sets up this intriguing, almost voyeuristic dynamic for you as the reader. You feel like you're getting the inside scoop from both sides, but then the central conflict just explodes when Adam's mistress, a woman named Kelly, is found brutally stabbed to death. And it's in the couple's own secluded Virginia lake house. Yeah, it's a grisly discovery. It completely shatters any facade of normalcy they might have been trying to maintain.
And the police, as you'd expect, they naturally zero in on Adam. I mean, he's the obvious suspect, right? Found at the scene.
Pretty much textbook.
But here's where it gets really interesting and honestly kind of astonishing. Sarah, despite the glaring, very public evidence of her husband's infidelity, she makes this unbelievable choice to represent him in court.
It's a huge decision.
Huge. And as you can imagine, it doesn't exactly do wonders for her professional reputation, and it certainly pushes their already fragile marriage, right to the breaking point. You just find yourself constantly asking, why? Why would she do this? What's her angle here?
It's fascinating. And what's truly captivating is how the case then unfolds. Meticulously, but also really rapidly, through the trial process.
Yeah.
As the legal proceedings move forward, it's not just about Adam's guilt or innocence anymore. Instead, this complex web starts to emerge. New affairs, deeply buried secrets from multiple characters, not just Adam and Sarah.
Oh,
yeah. And also what's described by reviewers as, let's say, sloppy police work. All of it starts coming to light. It's like this rapid descent into chaos, just twisting and turning towards a verdict that is going to irrevocably alter both Adam and Sarah's lives, no matter what the outcome is.
Wow.
The sheer amount of hidden stuff that gets unearthed is just staggering.
Okay, so with that setup, let's talk about what really worked here, because clearly something did. The reviews we looked at highlight some key reasons why this book is so compulsively readable, why it's almost impossible to put down.
Definitely.
First up, and this is critical for a thriller, the pacing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Masterfully done.
Yeah.
Like one reviewer noted how every chapter ends on the sort of mini cliffhanger.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. It's designed specifically to make you desperately want to just flip the page, jump immediately to the next chapter, often just to hear the other character's perspective on the exact same events.
Right, see their side.
Exactly. This narrative trick, it just drives the plot forward at this breakneck speed. It ensures you're always thinking, okay, just one more chapter, because another revelation, another twist is probably coming. It's genuinely addictive.
And speaking of perspectives, that dual narration, the different points of view, that's a huge, undeniable win. Especially, I hear, if you experience this book as an audiobook.
Oh, for sure. Having separate voice actors for Sarah and Adam really helps give each character a distinct, believable tone. It makes their individual journeys feel more authentic, more compelling.
It really immerses you.
Totally. It's not just a literary device, it becomes an auditory one too. But that dual perspective, it actually raises an even deeper question, doesn't it? Like, how does having access to both Sarah's and Adam's inner thoughts impact your trust in them? Does it make them more trustworthy?
Yeah, you'd think so, but maybe not.
Exactly. It doesn't necessarily. Instead, it creates this constant, pervasive sense of unease. You're getting both their inner thoughts, their secrets, their justifications, but you're constantly questioning their reliability.
Are they being straight with me, the reader?
Precisely. Can you believe what either of them is thinking? Or are they deceiving you, just like they might be deceiving each other? It's a psychological game the book plays with you the whole time.
And ultimately, what's driving all this? From that shocking start to the courtroom drama and everything else, it's just messy, very human motives. We're talking about raw emotions, intense jealousy, professional envy, that crushing weight of loneliness, the bitter sting of resentment.
Yeah, really relatable stuff, even in the extreme situation.
Exactly. These raw, relatable emotions, they somehow ground even the wildest, most unbelievable twists in a kind of reality. They make them feel profoundly human and believable somehow. The book really gets into the dark corners of the human heart, showing how even, ordinary flaws can lead to these extraordinary destructive outcomes.
Well put.
Now, okay, no book is perfect, right? And The Perfect Marriage definitely has a few elements that reviewers found themselves discussing, and sometimes, yeah, even nitpicking.
Which is part of the fun.
Totally. It just adds to the engagement, the debate. It's part of what makes the book so interesting to talk about afterwards.
Indeed. So if you're someone who really enjoys picking apart the nitty-gritty details of police procedural accuracy or courtroom drama.
Like the Law and Order fans out there.
Exactly. You might notice some liberties taken with procedural accuracy. Things like fast-track trial dates or getting instant DNA results back.
Yeah, not quite how it works usually.
Probably not. I make a legal expert chuckle or maybe even cringe a little bit. There's even a mention of, deputies fist-fighting suspects in interrogation rooms with few consequences, which is, well, certainly not standard practice.
Okay, yeah. And then there's Adam's decision-making. Oh, boy.
Oh, Adam.
One review pointed out some truly next-level, reckless choices he makes. Like, for instance, he breaks house arrest in a stolen car. Apparently because some stranger just walks up and claims to be a reporter, and he thinks, this is my only shot.
Right. It's almost unbelievable.
You might find yourself reading and genuinely asking aloud, Adam, what are you doing? What were you thinking? It's frustratingly, almost comically bad decision-making sometimes.
But, these aspects don't necessarily drag the book down, entertainment-wise.
No, not at all.
In fact, for a lot of readers, they actually encourage critical thinking.
Yeah.
They let you engage with the story actively, not just passively soaking it in. You're questioning the choices, the plausibility.
Yeah, you're involved.
Right. It's maybe less about strict realism and more about prioritizing that psychological tension and keeping the plot moving really fast. The procedural shortcuts kind of serve to heighten the suspense, keep you focused on the compelling character drama rather than getting bogged down in, legal minutia.
It definitely makes you wonder how you would navigate such a messy, tangled situation yourself, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
The sheer chaos of their lives is kind of what makes it so captivating. And, hey, if you're feeling that pull already, if you're ready to jump into this roller coaster yourself, you can find a link to purchase The Perfect Marriage right there in the episode description. Trust me, it's a ride worth taking.
Definitely. And beyond just the thrilling, twisty plot, the book really does get into some incredibly significant and universal themes, particularly that profound breakdown of trust.
Yeah.
And the destructive, almost corrosive nature of betrayal within an intimate relationship. It's not just a murder mystery. It's a deep dive into human vulnerability and deceit.
That's a fantastic point. It's not simply about solving a murder. It's about, as one review put it, relationship woes in the deepest way. The story focuses heavily on the insidious nature of gaslighting, how characters subtly, or maybe not so subtly, manipulate each other's perception of reality.
It's unsettling.
It really is. It forces you, the reader, to grapple with that unsettling question. Do we ever truly know those closest to us, even our spouses, even after years together? Both Sarah and Adam are constantly wrestling with who the other person really is, or maybe who they're just pretending to be.
And that's what makes the characters themselves so fascinating and, sometimes so frustrating. They're often described as sad and sketchy.
Yeah, that sums it up.
Which naturally makes it incredibly difficult to trust either of them fully. Take Sarah, for instance, high-powered attorney, makes this controversial, almost self-destructive decision to defend her husband, despite his obvious cheating.
Still can't get over that.
Right. That choice immediately casts this shadow of doubt on her own narrative. It makes you question her motives, her version of events. Is she doing it out of love? professional obligation.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe something far more cynical.
And then you have Adam. He seems to completely rely on his wife's success, her money, and almost blames her busy schedule for his own questionable choices, his affairs. He also quickly becomes a very unreliable narrator.
Absolutely.
You're constantly on edge, wondering whose side you're on, or if you can even trust anyone at all in this tangled web of deceit. It truly is a masterclass in psychological suspense. It's like this slow burn of paranoia that just ramps up with every single page.
Yeah, the book perfectly illustrates how secrets, once they're unleashed, can just completely unravel a life.
Okay. Now, we absolutely have to talk about the ending.
The ending, yes.
Without giving anything away that would spoil your experience, and seriously, we really want you to experience it firsthand. It's safe to say The Perfect Marriage is famously known for its jaw-dropping, totally blindsiding twist.
It really is. It's the kind of ending people immediately want to talk about or argue about.
Exactly.
And this is where the debate truly ignites among readers. A crucial question it raises is, can a first-person narrative genuinely hide such a critical secret for, like, 90% of the book?
Is that fair game?
Right. Some readers find this incredibly clever. A true blindsiding moment that just pulls the rug out from under them. They appreciate the audacity of it, how it recontextualizes everything they thought they knew. Others, though, they felt it was maybe a bit of a cheat. Because, as some reviews noted, there weren't enough, quote, breadcrumbs or those missing internal cues leading up to it.
Oh, okay.
The kind that first-person psychological thrillers usually sprinkle in to subtly hint at the truth. So it becomes this really fascinating discussion point about, like, the rules of storytelling and that unspoken contract between the author and the reader.
So it's the kind of ending that leaves you entertained, slightly exasperated, and instantly ready to argue with anyone else who's read it.
That captures it perfectly.
It completely turns everything you thought you knew upside down.
Yeah.
It forces you to reevaluate every scene, every line of dialogue, every character motivation you've just read through.
You want to go back immediately.
Right. It creates this immediate, almost desperate desire to discuss it with others who have experienced that same shocking revelation. It's less about the logical conclusion, maybe, and more about the emotional gut punch it delivers.
Definitely. But despite these points of contention, which honestly just add to its charm and the lively discussions it generates, the overall verdict from reviewers and readers is still overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, consistently lands at a solid 3.5 out of 5 stars, maybe even higher depending on the source, and it's widely described as a binge-worthy domestic thriller that absolutely delivers on its promise of suspense and intrigue.
And it's easy to see why, right? Jeneva Rose spins conflict with this incredible cinematic flair. It makes it feel less like you're reading a book and more like you're watching some primetime high-stakes drama unfold right before your eyes.
It really does have that feel.
So if you approach it as, say, a glossy primetime melodrama rather than a legal textbook, you are absolutely, without a doubt, going to have a fantastic time. It's entertainment first and foremost.
And that dual POV format. It truly is catnip for audio, like we mentioned. It elevates the listening experience, makes it incredibly immersive. And yeah, while the climax might strain credibility for some readers who prefer strict realism, the journey itself is undeniably entertaining and incredibly gripping. And crucially, I think, it explores marital resentment with a sharpness and intensity.
Yeah, that felt real.
Right. It really sets it apart from many other perfect couple thrillers that can sometimes feel a bit too predictable. This one dives into the uncomfortable truths of long-term relationships and how bitterness can just fester.
So true. Now, for those of you who get hooked, and we have a strong feeling many of you will, there's actually even more to explore beyond just this one book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this isn't simply a standalone deep dive into an isolated story.
That's absolutely right. The Perfect Marriage is actually the first in a series.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah. Its companion novel, The Perfect Divorce, just recently arrived in April 2025. And it continues Sarah Morgan's story, but 11 years later.
Wow, okay.
It brings new twists, and very intriguingly, it actually reopens the investigation into Adam's case from the first book. So it proves that some secrets just refuse to stay buried.
Keeps you coming back.
Exactly. It's a testament to the enduring power and popularity of these characters and their very complex history.
And get this even more exciting for fans. The Perfect Marriage is officially getting a screen adaptation.
No way.
Yes. film rights were acquired back in October 2022 by Picture Perfect Federation and Zurich Avenue, which, speaks volumes about the story's cinematic potential. And listen to this, Oscar-nominated writer William Broyles.
The William Broyles. Castaway, Apollo 13.
That's the one. He is on board to write the script.
Okay, that's serious talent.
Right. That's a serious commitment to bringing this story to life properly.
So while details on, casting and which streaming platform it'll eventually land on are still under wraps.
Yeah, too early for that.
It's pretty clear this story has the kind of gripping, high-stakes narrative that translates perfectly to the screen. It just has all those elements of a must-watch thriller, compelling characters, those shocking twists we talked about, and a central mystery that keeps you glued to your seat.
Definitely one to keep an eye out for.
For sure. Keep an eye out for updates because this is definitely one to watch.
It's just fantastic to see a book generate so much discussion and excitement, crossing over into other forms of media like this. It truly speaks to the universal appeal of its themes and its, masterful execution of suspense.
Totally agree.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener?
Yeah. Well, The Perfect Marriage is a fast-paced, scandal-filled, and genuinely unique domestic thriller that really does live up to its hype.
It does. It's a roller coaster ride of betrayal, questionable characters, and, yes, an ending that will undeniably have you eager to discuss it with anyone else who's experienced it. If you enjoy a twisty thriller that keeps you guessing, makes you question everything you thought you knew, and really delves into the messy realities of human relationships, then this one is absolutely worth your time.
And this really brings us back to that important overarching question for you, the listener. When everyone has secrets, how much are you truly willing to trust your narrators? This book is such a fascinating and, often frustrating exploration of that very idea. It forces you to confront your own biases and perceptions about truth and who you believe.
Well, we certainly hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and given you a solid foundation for understanding why The Perfect Marriage is such a phenomenon in the thriller world.
Hope so.
And remember, you can find that link to purchase the book right in our episode description. Go discover the full story for yourself. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for listening to the Epic Summary Podcast. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep reading.